School classroom.
I nailed it last year. I'll say 45. Stay like that.
Don't let it be me every time he says it. Do a split screen like the debate. Now him talking, you got me over here. My phone is on silent. My phone is on silent.
I don't want you to go everybody knows who it is. Dabo would be great.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if I was
Welcome to our press conference for the Clemson-Louisville game. Kickoff's going to be at 8:22. Televised and by ABC. Thank you for Tyler for running our lunch today. Now, turn it over to Coach.
It's 9 o'clock, right? All right, well, good morning. First of all, just, we've obviously had a couple days off. I just want to reiterate how proud I am of our team, and especially for how they competed last week. Thought we played our best game, and on a short week, just really proud of them for getting themselves ready to go. And we're 4-0. That's what we wanted to be. Where we want to be right now. But I definitely think our best football is still in front of us, and I'm excited about that. Also excited about being back at home this week. Just doesn't get any better, to be here at Death Valley and to have opportunities. We've had a couple home games already, but to have a night game here is something that we always look forward to, and to have a matchup like this, game day, all that stuff. They're all big. Hear me say that all the time, but from time to time you get one that's got a little more pizzazz with it and a little sideshow to go with it. That's kind of what this week's about, and I know our fans love that. For us, it's just business as usual and trying to get ready to play. But happy for our fans to have the opportunity to experience a game like this. For us, division game, and obviously started conference play last week. And this is a huge game because it's in the division, and both teams are undefeated and trying to stay that way. And then this is a great team that we're playing. I mean, they're definitely the best we've played to this point. A complete football team in every aspect when you really break them down. And they're playing at an incredibly high level right now. Offensively, they're the best in the country. Statistically, I mean, it's really kind of, freaky when you look at the numbers that they put up. It'd be hard to have these type of numbers in a video game. So, they're averaging 63 points a game. That's just unheard of. 682 yards a game. They're balanced. And the biggest thing that jumps out at you when you're watching is all the big plays, which is evident. I think they're averaging 9 yards a play, 17 something a catch, 7.8 yards a run. So they're just a huge, big play, offense right now that's playing with a lot of confidence and playing very well. Obviously starts with their quarterback. He's a great player. And watching him last year, you could tell that this guy was going to, develop into a nice player as he was learning their system as a freshman. We played him early, but later on in the year, as we studied some other Louisville tape, getting ready for other opponents, you could tell, okay, man, this kid's light's coming on for him, and just a dynamic guy. I mean, he's explosive. He's not just. A lot of people I think that he's just a scrambler. Drop back, it's not there, and he just scrambles and makes big plays. But this kid, they have a ton of design runs for him, and he is tough. That's one thing that jumps out at me in watching this guy is his toughness. He's got plays with passion. I have a great respect for his game and how he competes. I love to see a competitor, and this guy doesn't back down. Playing really, really well, a lot of play actions. They do a great job with their formationing, how they use their personnel. They're in and out 11 and 12 personnel. Do a great job with all their wing sets. A lot of swap boots, neckets, and heavy play action out of the pistol formation. And he's a very good thrower. They've had some huge plays in the passing game. So he's a weapon, in every aspect, whether it's dropping back and scrambling, design runs for him, or just, throwing the football. He makes a lot of plays and just a handful. But when you talk about this quarterback, I think a lot of times the other guys get lost. He's been such a dynamic player for them through 4 games. He's made so many big plays. Nobody really talks about the cast around him, and he's got a great group. They're well coached. They got a great scheme. Know what they're doing. But this is a big physical offensive line. Best we've played for sure. They do a great job. And then the running backs. These guys are explosive. They make plays, and this is the best group of receivers we've seen. So when you put all that together, you're getting some of these crazy numbers, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. These receivers are big. They're 6'4". I think they got 3 guys 6'4", one of them 6'6". And they got a little guy that's kind of their scatty guy. But this is a complete group, a huge challenge for our secondary, and matching up and playing the competitive plays that we're going to have to make against these guys. I think the ball's definitely going to go down the field. And then a guy that I think doesn't really get talked about, but I think is an excellent player, is the tight end, number 18. 89 is too. 18 and 89, but 18 is a guy that he makes a lot of plays for this team. And so again, really, there's really no negatives. They're playing incredibly well, and we're gonna have to play our best game. Something's gonna have to give one way or another. We're pretty good on defense, they're pretty good on offense, and be a heck of a matchup Saturday night. Defensively, same thing. I think it's the best defense we've seen. They're built similar to us defensively. Structurally and schematically, they do some different things, but they're built similarly. Big, thick, strong guys inside, long, athletic guys on the edge that can get after the passer. Backers, good players, very athletic. Middle backer is kind of the quarterback for him. He's a veteran guy that got 8 starters back on defense. Got everybody back in the secondary. 6'5" guy back there at safety. So it's a complete team in every aspect. We're gonna have to play our best football to this point to have a chance to move the ball effectively on these guys. There's no question about that. And then their kicking game is they've got I think Ray's #1 in punt returns and their guy's #2. So we've got some explosive guys in the return game to be out there Saturday night, and should be a dandy. But we're looking forward to it. And, off to a good start. I think it's good for our guys to get a couple of days to catch their breath. And today, tomorrow, huge days from a preparation standpoint. And again, just love being a part of games like this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I know we'll have a great crowd. And look forward to competing.
Coach, was Austin Bryant full contact yesterday, and how did he look?
We were just in shorts yesterday, and today will be another day. We'll put him through some more drills, put him through some things last night, but today will be a little bit more of a telltale on him. We'll put the pads on and see how he responds.
Coach, obviously the first 2 times you played Louisville seemed like a much different offense. It was a low scoring, relatively speaking. Do you not expect that type of game this Saturday? High scoring, you would think?
I would think we're going to have to score some points, and they're probably going to have to score some points. That's probably, I think you got 2 really good defenses and 2 really good offenses that are going to be competing. And, I don't have any clue. I'll take 3-2 right now. It'll be just fine with me. 3-2, we get the win, we keep rolling. But there's a lot of explosive athletes that will be on the field Saturday night. This will be one to enjoy, that's for sure. Because they got some cats, and so do we. So it should be a fun game.
Another injury question. Adrian Baker, how close is he?
He's getting real close. In fact, today, we're going to put him in all the one-on-ones. Going to put him in some of the team pass stuff. He's at that point now where we really need to cut him loose, full go in practice, and kind of see how he responds. He's getting real close.
Definitely no intent on a medical for him?
No, he'll be back. Unless we have a setback or something. But where he is, he's really done well. And the next step is he's been doing all the individual and all that. But the next step is to cut him loose, and we're going to do that this week from a man-to-man, team pass, put him in some of the competitive drill type stuff. And if we don't have any setbacks, then I think it's just a matter. All right, when do we get the green light?
Staying on that subject, how much does the loss of Jalen Williams' versatility hurt with an explosive offense like Louisville's?
Well, Jalen's a good football player for us. He's a guy that we got a lot of confidence in. He's the one guy, from Brent's perspective, that he has a lot of confidence that he can play Sam, Mike, and Will, and really play them all 3 positions well. So anytime you lose a guy that brings that type of versatility, it's tough on you. But we've got other good players, but I don't think that we've got, that's probably the biggest thing is just the versatility that he brought, and being able to just plug a guy, where you need him. So it's a tough loss for us, but we're thankful that it's not his ACL, and he'll be back at some point this season.
Coach, I know you treat every game like it's the biggest one of the year, but is there a different intensity level you feel going into a game like this when you have game day, it's 8 o'clock kick, and you're taking on a top 5 opponent?
I don't know, not really. I know that's, I think it is for the fans, but the reason we've been so consistent here is because of how we prepare. And, it's not coach speak. That's just what we do. I mean, we're aware. Some games have a little more vibe and all that stuff. But if you're going to be a great player, a great consistent team, you can't get distracted by that. You've got to stay locked into your process as far as how you get yourself ready, how you get the team ready. Because if you start varying that, then everybody knows the difference. It's like, okay, well, all right, well, it's this opponent this week, so we're not going to practice hard on Tuesday. And it just doesn't work that way. South Carolina State, that's the best week of practice we've had all year. It was an unbelievable practice that week. The edge, everything. It wouldn't have mattered who we would have played that day. It wouldn't have mattered. I don't care who would have been on that other sideline on Saturday. When we played South Carolina State, they would get beat because our team, how they prepared, and so we just don't get caught up with that. When you now you're starting to prepare to an opponent. Your energy is to an opponent. You play to an opponent as opposed to preparing to a standard, playing to a standard. That's just what we do, and our guys have bought into that. And then when the game is over, we move on. We don't linger around. If we get beat, we move on. If we win it, we move on. It's just that simple. We got 12 games, and this is one of 12. It's a big game. There's no question. They're all huge. That's why we say it's the biggest game of the year. And next week, you know what I'm going to say? It's the biggest game of the year when we go up to Boston. Because it is, because it's what's in front of you. Just play the game in front of you, play the play in front of you. Win the day in front of you, the practice, the meeting. You win a championship literally one game at a time. That's how you win a championship. And to do that, you have to be locked in from a preparation standpoint each and every week. And that's just what we do. We know what's out there, and I think it's great. Yeah, there's a little extra juice that comes along with, a game like this and an 8:22 kickoff and all that type of stuff. It's a blast to be a part of these type of moments, but they're all big. Anytime you get a chance to step between the lines, then you put yourself at risk. You put your season on the line, and anybody can beat anybody on any given day.
Is there value in the fact that last year you had several of these kind of environments and these kind of games, where maybe 5-6 years ago that wasn't the case? Is there value in what happened last year for what can happen?
Well, I think program-wise, yes. 8 years ago when we started, we hadn't really had many opportunities like this consistently, and I think that was one of the things in 2011 with all that. We didn't really know how to handle that type of success and all that came with it. Whereas, these guys, they've been in lots of these moments. This is our fourth game day since 2013, and I think Alabama's the only other school out there that's had game day more. So our guys have been in games like this. They understand what it takes. They haven't lost many games in their career, but they've lost enough to know that you got to bring it each and every week. And we have a great respect here for how we get ready, and that's what we try to stay focused on.
That much of treating every game the same, do you think, just based on teams you've been on in the past, here at Clemson, at Alabama, and just observing other teams, do other teams not treat it that way in terms of really just getting up for a 8:22
I think that's, absolutely. I've been a part of that. You just kind of take things for granted, because of what the media says or what somebody's record is or whatever. You get caught up and distracted by that stuff. And when you do, you're never going to be consistent. You have to, respect every opponent. And again, that's why we say, hey, it's not we get ready for the opponent, but it's really more about Clemson. It's how we prepare, how we think. It's our commitment. It's our attention to details. It's our effort. Those are the things, because we know we're good enough. So let's just keep it about Clemson and play to a standard that we all know. That's just what we do. Absolutely. I definitely, think that's a hard thing to do. It's a hard when you're dealing with a bunch of young people to keep them locked in on just having a great Tuesday practice and not worrying about, tomorrow or next week or what happened last week or whatever. It's a hard thing to do, but, we've been pretty good at it.
Yeah, well, a lot of the preseason talk was all Clemson and Florida State. Are you surprised at all of what Louisville has done so far this year?
No, not at all. We've got great respect for Louisville, and have. The last 2 years, man, you talk about some knockdown dragouts with those guys, down to the last play. Fortunate to win both games. But, their defense is tremendous, and has been. Kid they had last year was a first rounder. Rankins, I think was his name. He was a load. We've got great respect for Louisville. Not surprised at all. I think last year you could see, it was just a matter of them kind of working the quarterback situation out. And as the year wore on, kind of, got solidified with number 8.
What impresses you about how Petrino has used that kind of dual threat presence into an offense that traditionally hasn't had that type of weapon quarterback?
I'm impressed with what they're doing because he's they got a lot of option principles built into this thing. When you look at some of their formations, and they look like Georgia Tech, but they're in pistol shotgun, and that's they're not Georgia Tech. Don't get me wrong, but they'll get in some of those same type of formations, the diamond looks, and it's the play action out of the pistol. It's the quarterback powers. It's all the zone read stuff. It's the swaps, the zone swaps, and the double dashes, and the boots that come off of it, and throwbacks. Because he is such a weapon. He's not a guy that just sits in the pocket and moving him all over the place. But it's just, what they've done from an ability to get extra, they create edges, they create extra gaps with all of their double wing sets and motion and how they shift to these different alignments, and you come up short. And then you throw in the zone read with it, and now you're really short. And then you put it in the guy's hands that runs I don't know what he runs, 4.3 or something. It makes for some explosiveness. So they've done a great job. They really have done an excellent job in utilizing the skill set of Lamar. Because he's a gifted athlete and a guy that can absolutely throw the football all over the park. So I think they've done an outstanding job. And then they come right back and here's the power play right up the middle, with the backs. And you got to always be alert for the quarterback. Then they got all those big receivers and the tight end. They do a good job. It's just they're a complete offense. I think their personnel groupings, they're an 11 personnel team. They get in a lot of 12. Sometimes they get into what we call, one package, which is they got 7, who's another quarterback basically. He plays receiver, and then they get him in the backfield. So it creates a lot of stress on you. There's a lot to get ready for these guys, formationally, and all the things that they can do off of their run game.
Were you involved in recruiting Lamar Jackson at all out of high school?
I was not. Probably should be, huh?
Coach, the defense has obviously played extremely well all season. Last season, they were vulnerable to giving up the big play. Are you pleased with how they've limited the big play so far this season?
Yeah, we're 4-0 right now, and I think we're a better team right now than we were at this time last year at 4-0. We were 4-0 last year too, and we played 2 on the road. At Auburn, at Georgia Tech. Last year at this time, we had played 3 at home and only 1 on the road. And we're better statistically in just about every area, with the exception of drop balls. That's been probably the biggest disappointment in the first 4 games is the amount of touchdowns that we missed, and the drops that we had, especially the first two games. You know, we've improved the last couple, but, defensively, we're better. You know, I think we've been more disciplined. There's no question. You know, at Louisville, we gave up some busted plays. Notre Dame in the fourth quarter, lots of busted plays, big play bust off of some basic things. And that was one of our biggest goals coming into this season, was to minimize that. I mean, we had whatever 986 snaps of defense last year, 4,600 total yards given up. But 2,500 of those yards came on 71 plays. So we were a feast or famine. We were a little dysfunctional at times on defense, because we were top 10 defense, but then we would give up these chunks, and that was very frustrating. And we did it in several games. So that was a big area of improvement, focus for us to get better. And after 4 games, there's no question we've been much more disciplined, and we're playing, you know, collectively as a unit very well. So, you know, very pleased, obviously. And then how we played down at Georgia Tech was just incredible. The discipline that we played with. You know, we pick off the halfback pass. I think they only had really two what I call big plays in the game. So we've been very consistent. So hopefully that'll continue, and we're much better in special teams after 4 games. There's no question. I mean, we're much better in that area, and again, we're a little bit better offensively than we were at this time last year. So, you know, I think our best football's in front of us, and we're improving. And the biggest thing is we got a bunch that's eager to get better. Hopefully that'll continue to show up Saturday night.
There's a lot of conversation about Jackson and who he reminds people of. Some say Michael Vick, some say Rick Jackson. Anybody come
Well,
up?
I mean, I think Michael Vick is a right-handed Michael Vick. It's what I was saying the other night. I think he's got that same explosiveness, and he can rip the football the same. To me, that's, you know, compare guys, but that's what he looks like. That's what he looks like.
Coach, you mentioned a little bit about what it means to be at home for these types of games like that, but what is a night game, an 8:30 kickoff at Death Valley like when you're running down the hill, you see 80,000 allies on your side
Yeah.
plus? What's that moment like, and what's it gonna be like to have that here at Saturday?
Well, it's awesome. I mean, it's exhilarating. You really can't describe it. It's just a blessing to be able to experience something like that. To have a fan base that gives us the environment that we have is incredible. But what I always tell our guys, the environment doesn't win. You know, it's what happens on that field. It ignites what's around you. And, you know, we've got to do our part as a team, because I know our fans are going to do their part. They're going to show up. They're going to be ready. And, you know, it's all about playing well on the field. And if we do that, then it's a special thing to be a part of when they get rocking here in the Valley.
How do you feel about where the offensive line is right now, and what can they do to continue to establish rhythm?
We're doing good. I mean, we're doing a good job. We had 1 sack. We hadn't hardly given up. I think we're right there at the top of the conference in sacks given up. So they've done, for the most part, we had one bad one against Georgia Tech, which went the wrong way at center there, but turned the guy loose. But for the most part, we've targeted. You know, we had some runs the other day that were blocked perfectly, and the unblocked guy was the safety in the hole. He made the tackle. We can't block the unblocked guy. You know, he's, you know, makes a tackle, and that's, running back's got to beat him. But we also got to put our running back in the right situation. And we can't, you know, we got to make sure that we can't let people play us that way. And so that's kind of how the game got dictated with some of the things that we did in the passing game. But, we've got to be a little more efficient in some areas. We've got to make sure we got all 5 guys on the same page. You know, we've had a few incidents where we weren't all on the same page, and sometimes it hurt us and sometimes it didn't. But it's critical that we get all 5 of those guys, you know, where they're supposed to. But I'm pleased. I mean, we got good players. We got good players up there, really good players. Mitch Hyatt, great football player. Taylor Hearn, great football player. Jay Guillermo, great football player. Crowder, great football player. Frew, Pollard, and Ankrum. Ankrum played 15 snaps last week, played great. I don't think he had a single minus. And Maverick and Falcinelli. So we got good guys, man. They're doing just fine. We're 4-0.
Does rotating guys as much as you do up there, does that make it any tougher to kind of get into that rhythm to start the season?
No, we want to keep rotating guys. You know, that's what they come here to do, to play. And as long as they deserve the opportunity to play and they perform, you know, we don't rotate them just to rotate them. We rotate. If we're rotating somebody in there, it's because they deserve to play. Number one, and that they're doing a good job. Now, if we've got guys in there aren't doing what they're supposed to do, they won't play. But we've got good depth. I mean, it's no different than to say that Tremaine Ankrum doesn't. That'd be like having Isaiah Battle last year at left tackle and saying Mitch Hyatt doesn't go play. That's kind of stupid. You know, we've got good players, and you've got Mitch Hyatt, but you got Tremaine Ankrum. And this kid is a very good player and deserves to play, has earned the right on the practice field. But you know, we got some guys where it's a little closer than others, but no, those guys are doing a heck of a job in there.
Who's been the guy that kind of filled in for Mac Lane this year in that leadership role on the
Jay.
offensive line?
Yeah, he's as good a leader as you can have. He's done a great job, and did last year too. You know, I thought last year he became a great leader for us. I mean, he's perceived that way by his teammates. He and Sean, and you know, really pleased with what Jay's doing.
You talked a lot preseason about several things that Sean needed to improve on, and one of the biggest things was decision-making during the game. Where is that now in your mind, and are you pleased with the progress, or is it still?
He's doing great. I mean, he said, you know, he has some minuses just like everybody else, but he's off to a heck of a start. He's I think ahead of where he was last year. You know, in some areas, a little behind in other areas. The biggest thing again is 16 drop passes in 4 games, 6 touchdowns. You know, I think that's and we're still ahead offensively than we were. And I think, you know, if we had 12 of those in the first 2 games. And we had 2 drops against South Carolina State, 2 drops against Georgia Tech. Touchdown, we dropped against South Carolina State, Cornell, and then Deion drops touchdown against Georgia Tech. You know, those are the things that I think, and again, we're improving, but we've got to minimize those things. But from a decision-making standpoint, he's done a good job. I think we've had a couple of miscommunications where we got to make sure we're on the same page. You know, he and Mike have a good chemistry, and they got a lot of confidence with each other. And but we need them to stay within the system. And you know, that's one area that we need to be a little bit more disciplined in moving forward. We had one incident last weekend with Mike, and then we come back and we have one with Sean, same 2 guys, so you know, they're just, you know, not quite on the same page. So just staying within the system, staying disciplined with that. But he's doing a good job. He's done what we've asked him to do, and he's led us to 4 wins. He's had some critical drives, critical throws at critical times, and you know, we're gonna need him. We're gonna need to play a great game Saturday night.
How about his deep ball? It seems like he's missed more this year on deep balls than he had at any point.
Well, it seems that way because we've dropped a bunch of them. He's probably missed about the same they did last year, but that's what happens when you drop as many balls as we drop, then all of a sudden everything else kind of gets exposed a little bit more. But yeah, he's missed a few. But he played 4 games. He's a human being, not perfect. We'll get better.
Does it help having a guy like Deshaun when preparing to take on a guy like Lamar Jackson? Petrino said it was helpful for his team to really have a guy like Lamar to practice against when trying to contain Deshaun.
Sure, absolutely. I think what we practice against on the practice field is a big reason why we've been, you know, successful. We've won a bunch of games, and that's one of the things I always tell our guys. I mean, you practice the right way, with the right type of mentality and intensity day in and day out, game day ought to be easy for you. You know, from a you know, preparation standpoint, you shouldn't be overwhelmed on game day. Now, sometimes you might have some schematic things and things like that that can cause some problems, but from a personnel standpoint, you shouldn't be overwhelmed. And, because we practice against great people. It's the same for Louisville, absolutely. You know, their defense is going against a great offense. Our defense is going against a great offense. Our defense goes against great receivers. Our receivers go against great DBs, and vice versa. And when you have that, that's why they're a good team. Because again, not everybody has that. And that's really the secret sauce. When you've got that type of competitiveness on your practice field, it makes game day a lot easier for you.
Kelly, give the defense a good look as Jackson substitute.
No, Brent right now is working on his hurdle move for today. I think we're gonna put in the hurdle today, Brent. Brent was our quarterback last night, so, he's quicker than you think, man. He's quicker than you think.
Yeah, but would you be surprised to see these two guys aren't in New York? I mean, I know it's early, but as far as the Heisman, I mean, you expect both of these guys to.
I could care less. I really could. I could care less about all that. I just wanna try to find a way to win, you know, have a great season. All that stuff is a result of having a great season. So, you know, we're not worried about any of that stuff. But, definitely two of the best players in college football, there's no question about that. If they both stay healthy, you know, they're not gonna get worse. They're gonna continue to play well, because that's the type of, you know, talents they are, and type of competitors that they are. I didn't know Trayvon Mullen is cousins, I don't know if I knew that or not, with Lamar, with their moms or sisters.
Sean even said yesterday that the competition brings out something in him. He's excited about it. He's played so well in big games. What is it about his success on these big stages that helps this team continue to have so much success?
His poise, you know, I mean, he's just done it so many times. This kid's been starting since the 9th grade, and he's played in a lot of big games in high school. And he's had, not only has he played in big games, but he's had such high expectations on him since such an early age. And so it's just kind of his norm. You know, it may seem chaotic to people on the outside, but it's his norm. It's just what he does. So, you know, he's a special guy.
Anything else?
2 years ago, Adam Humphries had a punt return for touchdown. Last year, they got a 100-yard kickoff return. Is this set up again for a special team big play that's going to turn?
Special teams will be huge in this game. There's no doubt. You know, with these two offenses and two defenses and the type of personnel that's on the field, special teams will be a big factor. Again, you know, I think Ray leads the league in punt return, number 10 for them. He's also in the corner. He's second. Big kick, punt, field position, you know, all those things. I think special teams has got a chance to have a huge impact.